G'day guys, we've got a 911, a 992.2, so it's the current year for this year, which is 2025. So we're just going to stick some window film on here, so I thought I'd drag you along for the ride. So let's get into it. So the first thing I do with these cars is, because the window because the window glass goes up and down when the door opens and closes, and it's just in this little latch here, so we're going to trip the lock and make sure that the lock stays shut and leaves the door glass in the open position, which gives us the ability to cut the glass out to its full size. So once we do that, just stick some soapy water on the outside. Got a bit of a dodgy trigger there. I've run two bottles, one for the outside and cleaning and one for the mounting solution. And I use dishwashing liquid in the bottle, and that seems to sort of jam up the trigger for some reason, but here's what it is. So you can sort of see it's, years ago, Canyon used to make the best triggers in the world, and for some reason Canyon are no longer, or they're just not making those triggers, and it's the sadness of all tinters, because they're a cracking bottle. So anyway, so roll your film out like so. Just going to line it up just above the bottom of the window, just so I can see what's going on. I'm going to cut off some excess here. You can see what I'm doing. Now with these, the bottom of the glass has a bit of a dip in it, like a bow. So I'm just going to overlap the film like so. And I'm just going to let it sit level. I'm going to push it into that corner, and I'm just going to cut a 45 degree just so I don't crease the film, and then pop my blade in there and just let the film fall in. And notice when I'm cutting, the back of the blade is always above the line of where I'm cutting, just so the blade doesn't cut into it. So now we've done that, make sure I've got enough on the top. I'm going to bring it back up, level it so that I've got a nice, the bottom of the film is sitting nice. Poke it into the front here, move the mirror out the way, poke it into the front. And I'm just going to let the knife, I'm going to follow this arc like so. Lift the film up. Now we're going to get a little bit of material so it goes down below the door trim. Now these door trims, the felt on them have like a double lip. So if you don't go past the double lip, a lot of the times it will lift and peel. And when you hear other tinters saying, you've got to make sure it dries out and that sort of stuff, well, that's why. But if you get it down below that second lip, you're laughing, it'll never lift. But there's a few steps to do before we get there. So obviously cutting the top, I'm going to lift the film up a little and just leave myself about, about a centimetre, and just see what the shape looks like. So now we're going to shrink it. So I'm going to grab my shrinking card. So I use a soft edge like that, and then just go over it a little bit harder. I'm going to squeegee to the first big finger, which is here, and then I'm just going to lift the film up and just let it fall like so, and then pull down and follow through. So that's pretty much how the film wants to sit in its natural position, and that's how much material we have to shrink. So we'll get our heat gun and start shrinking. Alright, so with these you can obviously see the shape of it. I like to just warm it all up first. Just warm everything up not necessarily just shrinking with any purpose. We're just sort of warming stuff up and kind of, I guess, shrinking at the same time. So just keep warming it up, keep moving the gun, and before you know it, it's all down. But if you just do it consistently and evenly, and just warm it all up, you'll find that the shrink definitely goes better for you, like that. And then just double check it, just lift it up, let it sit loose again. Important part here is you can sort of see all this sort of fingers and stuff. Just be careful you don't crease it. It's sort of like a, I guess, a double shrink, for want of a better word. But more importantly, like, I can shrink that, but what I'm really focusing on is just those bottom edges. I just want to get that bottom edge just to curl in, just a fraction, just so I know that when the film goes on, it's going to more or less bite into the glass. It's not going to have any sort of lifting, any spears come up. So once we've got all the tint sitting down nice, the next thing we want to do is get it up onto the board. So always grab it from the top corner, pull back and lift away so it doesn't crease. I really need a new bottle. Alright, so open hand and kind of just slap it on so it doesn't get any crow's feet and any creases that's going to impinge the vision for the customer. We've got a little tag here that we're going to cut off, and we're just going to clean up those edges. So this here, what we're just going to do is we're going to follow that line there, cut that off, and then we're just going to push that in, and we're just going to get your knife and make a nice rounded edge like so. Up the top, we're just going to cut that off there. So all this is going to be sitting quite deep below the top of the door trim. So clean that up. The next step is to blade the glass. We're actually putting XL Black on this car. And so if you're actually looking for trim covers, this is actually the plastic that's wrapped around the rolls of film with some double-sided tape. So if you don't have the proper stuff, this is definitely more than adequate. It is definitely a get out of jail free card. So when you blade these, you just want to stay away from that writing, and you want to make sure that when you are blading it, you just want to overlap your strokes nice and firm to the point where the blade of the on the end of the scraper here is basically squeegeeing the glass clean. You don't want to see any water left behind, because that's sort of a telltale that your blade is not as sharp as it needs to be. So just go around the edges, across your top, like so. Next step is grabbing a rag, across your top, down your sides. Now I'll get a Easy Reach. It's a little triangle card like this, and just give it a quick squirt, shove it down in here, pull back on the trim, and just feed some soap down in there and then down in through the rubbers. Just sort of lube it up. We all like to use a bit of lube at times, and this is definitely one of those cases. So once you've got all that soak down in here, it's going to help the window film slide down. So again, we'll just wipe down our top edge, grab our squeegee, and it's all in the prep. So I see quite a few guys just squeegee almost with a what we call a hard press like this. And it just baffles me how they get a perfect job with one of those. But you know, anything's possible, but you never get to see the close-ups. Anyway, so I'm going to go over this 3 times. and just make sure that all my strokes are overlapped. And then I'm going to give it a squeegee clean with my Easy Reach. Give it a quick flush. And then one more squeegee. Go over the top, making sure that no water is left behind, because if you get water left behind, it's sort of a telltale that you're going to have contamination in your film. Flush your sides and your bottom, like so. Don't spray too much on the top, but just enough to make the film sort of slide. You don't want it too dry, you don't want it sort of sticking. So now we'll go and peel some film. So make sure your film is staying on the board. Do a little flick, peel back. Make sure that you don't pull out towards you. Pull nice and close to the board so that the film doesn't fall away. Heaps of soap. Film in the bin. And flip the nose up like so. Over your hand, let it fall. Grab your chair, and you just want to pinch it about there, let it fall, and then you want to open your hand and let it fall on like so. Let go of your pinch, let the film fall on. And the idea now is I want the film to sort of try and fall on below that top edge. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to help it. I'm going to open up that gap with my Easy Reach. I'm going to slide the film down. I'm just going to keep pulling back towards me with the Easy Reach and let that film fall in and push down at the same time. Just like that. Now, one of the tricky things is to try and get this nose in here. What we'll do is we're just going to get that Easy Reach in there, pull back, and just let that film fall in, and then peel it back in here and just push it right in that bottom corner. Make sure that it's all happy, like so. So now I'm just going to give it a little bump, and now I'm going to move it across. So now it's in position. All it is now is just a matter of just squeegeeing it out. So I'll start from the centre, go down the guts, and I'm going to work my way out. Like so. And go this way. Make sure that we get all that soap pushed through the adhesive to make sure that there's no going to be ghost marks, so there's no sort of pinch points, pressure marks. And get our corner card, go down like so, poke an end down the bottom, put a little bit of pressure on the glass, and get an Easy Reach. And just go all the way through, and I'll go all the way down and then back up this side, so I know that the whole thing is the edge is down. And then what we're going to do is shave it. I'm going to bring out the big boy. I actually like using this thing more so than the smaller knives, because it gives you a wider footprint to be able to use the back of your blade like this. Alright, and then we just lock it in, come back the other way. Now after we shave it, it's got to be sort of sealed. It's sort of not sitting perfectly flat. So that's why I sort of clean the edges to make sure that when I am sort of shaving, you don't get any contamination in that top edge. So just always wipe with the edge, especially in that corner. Now I just want to get a card, get that corner down. I'll just double check this edge. Nice. Get that down. Get that down. And finish it off. So that's pretty much it, guys. It's that's how you do a frameless window or a 911. Pretty straightforward. Catch you on the next one.